All right, we are live. Yes, the first time in probably a very long time. 3 days in a row I'm doing a video. Welcome everybody. My name is Chris. This is my channel, We Love Comics, and this is probably going to be more of an audio video than a video because a couple of people actually asked a very good question. And I love when people ask questions because that helps people to learn more. And especially if you're somebody who loves collecting comics, whether it's just to read them, whether it's to hang them up on your wall because you love the artwork, whether you love investing and flipping comics. I mean, there is no wrong way as long as it makes you happy. But if you enjoy this comic world of collecting, regardless of why you do it, the more information you learn, the better you're going to be for yourself. So a couple of people actually asked this question regarding the Incredible Hulk #1 comic. It seems to be a controversy for some reason, but a legitimate question came out of it, and I think this is a video I don't think anybody's discussed before. And I'm going to share my opinion of what I believe the answer is, and then I actually went to GPT. And I hope you watched the videos I did yesterday. A couple of people just thumbed down videos, and that's fine. You know, you're allowed to. I don't care. But I want people to watch that entire video because you can learn some new information. And I think that's important if you want to be a person who has fun collecting comics, not just doing it for the money. I mean, money's great, but there's plenty of ways to make money in the world. So learning new things about comic collecting only makes you more excited and more knowledgeable about the hobby you've chosen. So with that being said, the Hulk #1 I have had a couple of places on it, 2 places to be exact, where either a bug or a rodent was chewing through the comic. Now, it did affect the story, which it did mention in the greatest notes or the front of the slab, I don't remember which, but it's not considered incomplete. So a couple of people asked the question, why is it if for example, a poster is taken out of the centerfold, or a Marvel value stamp, for example, or a coupon is cut out, why is that considered incomplete, but a bug or rodent biting a comic and chewing off a part of the comic is not? And I think that's a great question for people to ask. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think the interpretation is. And then, like I said, I asked the question to ChatGPT, but I have not read the response yet, so I do not know what ChatGPT wrote out. Okay, here's my interpretation of why a coupon, for example, like a Marvel value stamp, or removing a centerfold poster, for example, is considered incomplete, and an insect or rodent bite is not. To me, from what I understand, it all boils down to intent. In other words, a rodent or a bug or mold, for example, is not picking and choosing a specific area of a comic to take out. In other words, a rodent isn't going to say, you know what, I only want to eat the Marvel value stamp, or I want to eat only the poster or the centerfold or a advertisement. It just does it. So it's almost considered an act of God, if you think of it. Think of it like insurance. There's a difference between a car crashing into another car with intent and a car crashing into another car because maybe there was extremely bad weather conditions like ice. An insurance company would consider that an act of God. So, in my understanding, a rodent or insect bite would not be intentional. But somebody clipping out a coupon, or somebody removing the cover to put on a coverless book, or somebody removing a centerfold by, like, for example, buying a coverless copy and removing a centerfold to put it in another copy, or cutting out a Marvel value stamp, that is intent. So that would be considered incomplete because somebody is purposely removing something from a comic, whereby an animal or insect is just doing what it does with no intention of doing anything other than feeding itself. So it's not specifically targeting one specific area. It's not specifically going to chew out a coupon. So that's my understanding of it. But let's go to what GPT says, and I'm going to put on the window capture so you could see for yourself. And out of 7 people, there was 1 nice person that hit the like button. That doesn't mean the other 6 aren't nice. I just appreciate those who take the time to hit that like button. So let's go with what ChatGPT said. The response is underneath. Like I said, I have not read it yet. So this is what I asked. Question about comic grading. If a rodent or insect chews out a piece of a comic, it is not considered incomplete when a grader is grading a comic. But if a person cuts out a coupon, for example, it is considered incomplete. Can you explain in full detail what is the difference when it comes to grading comic books in this scenario? Okay, so here is the response. When it comes to grading comic books, the distinction between a rodent or insect chewing out a piece versus a person cutting out a coupon lies in the concept of, in quotes, intentional removal. Oh, well, there you go. And its impact on completeness. Here is a detailed explanation of the difference in these scenarios. All right, so basically, me and a artificially intelligent computer system think alike, so that gives me a little satisfaction. But let's read what they wrote, because I asked ChatGPT to do this in full detail, and it's given all this information based on fact, not people's opinions, not people's feelings, not what they hear say from somebody. It's actual facts. So number 1, rodent or insect chewing out a piece. If a rodent or insect damages a piece of a comic book, such as chewing a hole or nibbling on a corner, professional graders typically do not consider it an issue of incompleteness. This is because the damage caused by natural factors like rodents or insects is considered accidental or outside of human control. Graders focus more on the overall condition and completeness of the remaining pages and cover. The presence of rodent or insect damage may affect the grade, but it is not seen as intentional removal that that compromises the inherent completeness of a comic. So let's continue. Number 2, person cutting out a coupon. In contrast, if a person intentionally cuts out a coupon or removes a piece from a comic book, professional graders consider it intentional removal and deem the comic incomplete. This is because a coupon or any other piece removed by a person deliberately alters the original content of the comic and compromises its completeness. The removal is seen as intentional and purposeful, and it affects the comic's integrity and value. The key factor that differences these scenarios is the intent behind the removal. In the case of natural damage caused by rodents or insects, it is regarded as unintentional and outside of human control. On the other hand, intentional removal by a person is considered an alteration made deliberately, impacting the completeness of the comic and its original content. It's important to note that grading standards and criteria may slightly vary among different grading companies. However, the general principle is to assess the overall condition, completeness, and integrity of the comic book, taking into account factors such as intentional removal and the impact it has on the original content. So there you have it in a nutshell. I think that is an amazingly great question a couple people asked. And that is why my Hulk number 1 is not a 0.5. Now, if they graded a 2.0 or a 3.0 or a 4.0 or even a 1.8, I would have said that is too high of a grade. But you have to understand, when a professional grader grades a book, they grade it based on the entirety of the book, not just the cover, not just the pages, but the whole entire cover. So they have to factor in everything. Now keep in mind, because humans are grading these books, each person, like you'll see in the comments section, or the people who will like or dislike this video, people have variations of their feelings, opinions, facts, information, what have you. Now, the people who research and learn more about the things that they enjoy or want to just learn about will have better information than those who just regurgitate what somebody else said because it sounds right, or basing it on their own feelings or personal opinions. Now, of course, human error will have those things factor into what somebody will consider a grade. But you have to go by the factual information, not your own biases, your own personal beliefs, or your own personal opinions. And that is the difference between, for example, a YouTuber who will grade their comics, and I am one of those people. I'm just the YouTuber who takes basically guesses at the grades, even though I tend to be very accurate, as compared to a professional grader who has to have the entire book's entirety and information regarding each grade at hand to establish what they feel the grade should be. Now, because that is subject to somebody's opinion, that is going to vary, but it's not going to be the difference between a 2.0 and a 9.0. So the biggest difference between an incomplete book that is having a removal of an item as compared to a rodent, insect, water damage, mold, for example, is the intent. So I hope this helps, and I think that was a great question. Never be afraid to ask questions, because I thought that was not only a great question, but a good enough question for me to make a video about, because I think more people need to understand these things. And more people need to get rid of their feelings and their opinions when it comes to something of factual nature. Grading is based on criterias, not what you feel. So yes, even I thought that book should be a 0.5, but that's because I was misinformed. After reading all that information in my previous video, which I hope people will listen to, because there is a factor in the comment section where I could tell the people who watched the video from its entirety and people that did not, because there was a certain thing I told people that, well, there's a certain visual in the comic, in the video, that will tell me that you watched the whole video. But I show the information. Now, you could disagree with it, but that doesn't make you right. You could feel that the information is wrong. That does not make you right. You could believe you're right. That doesn't make it right. You could believe the sky is red all you want. That does not make it true unless the sky is red. So unfortunately, I am going to get hatred from some people regardless of what I do. And I'm perfectly fine with that, because like I said in my previous video, I can't help those who are stuck in an idea with no ability to be able to change their belief system. I am here for those who want to improve their knowledge and base things on information that's provided, not facts or feelings or peer pressure or hearsay. So if you like this information and you think this actually helps, I would love for you to take the time to leave a thumbs up and to comment on the video. I am not here for a popularity contest. I obviously am not going to have thousands of subscribers and thousands of views, and I'm perfectly fine with that. What I am here to do is cut through the BS that many people regurgitate. And I'm not mentioning anybody specifically, because this is all over YouTube. Most people, unfortunately, care more about their ad revenue than the quality and truthfulness of their information, and not being afraid to question any narrative. That's probably why the world is the way it is these days, because people are basing things on feelings and opinions instead of facts and information. And that's why the world is getting crazier and crazier. So, if you enjoy this content, you know what to do. If you want to thumb it down, that's perfectly fine. It does not change the truth of what the information provides. If you found this helpful, leave a comment, let me know. I think this was very important to talk about, and I thank the I think there were at least 2 people that asked the same question. So that means that those are people who are going to learn. And maybe you did. If you did, let me know. So thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it. And Michael says, hate is about this, just the book not being readable. No, certain parts of the book are not being readable. The first 6 pages, there's a corner of it not being readable. And then the bottom part of the book is not readable. You have to base grading of a comic, according to professionals, on the entirety of the comic. So it does say it does affect the story. It's like, for example, somebody cutting out a coupon, or there's a page or 2 missing, that affects the story. The rest of the book is still readable. So I'm sorry if you do not believe in that, but then what I would suggest to you is to contact somebody, a representative from CGC or CBCS or EGS or PGX or any other grading company you could think of, and you can ask them specifically. You know, this is what the information provided is. When you grade any comic, it is based on the entirety of the comic, not specific sections. Although those specific sections will contribute to a lower grade if it is something that devalues the book or damages the book. So it's not about hate. This is about knowing how to grade a comic properly. The biggest pet peeve I have is when I watch any video out there, and there are dozens of them and hundreds of them and thousands of them out there, so I'm not claiming it's one specific person, but somebody who will assume that their book was supposed to be a guaranteed 9.8, it comes back a 9.6 or a 9.4 or a 9.2, and they look at the front of the cover and they look at the back of the cover and say, I can't believe this is not a 9.8. It is not about the cover. It is not about just the pages. It is not about just the staples. It is not about just the corners. It is not just about is it complete or not. It is about every single thing in the comic combined, and removing points based on certain situations that will devalue the book, unless it's a 10.0 and they find nothing wrong. Michael continues to say, I know the story and I get you, but still I stand. Well then, Michael, if you want to stand on that point, that is perfectly fine. What I would recommend is, with your ideas, see if you can get employment at any of the grading companies with your standing of your belief of how a comic should be graded. If you can get hired by them because they feel what you think that you can contribute to the grading of a comic book is productive and beneficial to them, then obviously you're going to be right. But if you're going to stand on a belief that is not accurate to how professional graders will grade a comic, then it is giving you and doing you a disservice. Now, you have the right to believe or feel anything you want, but when it comes to facts, you can't look up at the moon and say it's a buffalo because you believe it's a buffalo. Even if your heart, you believe it's a buffalo, and everybody tells you it's a buffalo, it's not. So if you want to do that, Michael, you have every right to do it. I am not here to tell you how to think. What I am here to do is give information that many people are afraid of giving, because topics like these and the topic like I did yesterday will get thumbs down, will get unsubscribers, and will keep views low, which means I will never get more than $6 in revenue. But you know what? I care more about the information than the money, the fame, the popularity, or the continuation of making a product. And that's why, even though I have a few subscribers and few viewers, they appreciate what I do, because I am not basing my information on what will give me the best clicks and the most ad revenue and the most popularity. They come here because they know when I talk about something, to the best of my knowledge, I am giving factual information, and if I am wrong, I am man enough to correct myself. So with that being said, feel free to anyone out there, believe what you want, have any opinion you want. But what I say is, when it comes to something like factual information based on grading of a comic, what I say is, take your belief in your feeling system, go to CGC, go to CBCS, go to PGX, go to EGS, or go to any other grading company, tell them this is what I feel that I can contribute to your business in regards to grading a comic, and if they say after listening to you that they feel you are more accurate than the facts they have been using for years, and they hire you, then you have all the right to make the claim that your belief was true when it comes to that. Until then, it's just an opinion and a feeling. And this is my feelings and opinions about that. You can agree, you can disagree. But if anything, I appreciate, regardless, you taking the time to watch my video. Even if you are one of those people that automatically thumbed it down at the beginning of the video, that just means you spent some of your time to focus your energy on me. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Thank you to the 7 people kind enough to hit the like button. I look forward to your comments if you are so inclined to do so. And don't forget to have your friends spayed or neutered. And don't forget, it is not you, it is not I, it is we love comics, because believe it or not, I actually do. And if you want to order one of my mystery boxes, join my Patreon. You could be one of the 2 people that are one of my Patreon people, or just check out some of the discount codes that I offer. Check out the description of this video or any video I do. With that being said, enjoy the rest of your weekend,